Katie Bo here. Today, I'd like to show you the quickest way for you to have immediately more energy and mental focus. Are you ready? You ready? Here we go. Just take a breath. It's simple. Breathing in that good old O2, aka oxygen. See, as your lungs take in more fresh air, the oxygen levels in your blood go up, and the higher oxygen levels means more of that oxygen is going to circulate to your brain, which helps you feel energized and improves your ability to concentrate and remember information. That is beautiful. Now, you would think that remembering to breathe is a simple thing to do, but you know what happens when you get angry or when you get stressed? You tighten your frame, and instead of slow, deep breaths, you take shallow, quick ones. And these breaths don't provide the kind of oxygen that you need for mental clarity, and that's why you're most dangerous when you're angry. I bet you didn't know that. Even your posture, when you're tired, it keeps you from getting the oxygen that you need. Let me tell you something. When you're tired, you slouch. When you slouch, you cut off the lower third of your lungs. And the lower third of your lungs absorb 2/3 of the oxygen. Less oxygen, more brain fog, more fatigue. Sometimes you really do need to show up and make an impact. Now, I can't tell you what you need to do. I can, however, say that you got to start with several long, deep breaths first. I remember my dad would say to my mom, "Helena, I'm so mad I can't even breathe." You know why he was so mad? He wouldn't allow himself to just relax, his chest cavity to just relax and breathe. So when you're in a tight spot, again, I can't tell you how it's going to turn out, but I can tell you how to start, and that is to simply relax yourself, straighten your posture, and just breathe. You like this video? Make sure you hit the like button, make a comment, or maybe if you know somebody that needs to see this video, share it with them. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe to this channel. And until tomorrow with your breathing self, have a remarkable day.
I need everybody to know there ain't nothing like the Katie Bo Show. Oh, Katie Bo Show, for show, for show. Let go. It's the Katie Bo Show, for show, for show. The Katie Bo Show, for show, for show. Ooh. Katie Bo Show, for show. Stick around, might just play your favorite song. It's that show you've been waiting on all day long. And if an encouraging word is what you need, you can always count on KD. Never disappointed, right here is where you wanna be. We can talk about how to get and keep your man. Let's talk. Breaking it all the way down so you understand. Brothers, he gon' help you too. Keeping it 100, he gon' tell the truth. So what you do with what you hear is all up to you. Oh, it's the Katie Bo Show. Oh, it's the Katie Bo Show. And I can guarantee you he gon' say something you need to know. It's the Katie Bo Show. It's the Katie Bo Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm trying my best not to shed a tear up in this podcast sanctuary. Man, I got my dude. I got this brother who is one of the most, I don't want to blow no smoke because I'm gonna say it like I really feel it. When I think about having a real direct conversation with an intellectual, man of God who is in touch with reality and is going to keep it a billion with you. I think of a few people. None of them live here except for one. And I got him right here. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for that dude, Pastor Darius Daniels. What's good?
What's up, my guy? Man, listen, I'm excited to be here. You fancy.
Okay,
this is fancy, bro.
Yeah, I'm making my labor payments.
I see. It's a little slight flex. I love it. It's great, though, man. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much. So I was online, and you was preaching a message, man. I share so much of your stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, bucket list. I got to have an interview with this guy. And you hit me. You was like, easy work or something like you said. That's easy. I'm like, what? And I hit the team. I was like, yo, I screenshot it. He said, look what he said. So they hit you up right away. I'm glad you accepted.
Oh, man, I'm honored to be here.
And let me jump into this, bro. The accent. You got an accent. Like, what's that? Because I
don't have an accent.
Oh, come on. You got an accent. It's like a Southern, proper kind of something.
I don't know. First of all, nobody's ever told me I got an accent. But
what? Okay.
Ever. But maybe if I do, maybe it's this combination of, so I grew up in Mississippi.
Oh.
100%. I was in Mississippi till I was 21. So once I finished undergrad, that's when I went to New Jersey for grad school. And so maybe it's the Mississippi and Jersey mix or something.
Yeah, you got something going on, but it sounds really unique. And when your voice, when you speak, is definitely you. It's like you put, like Jamal Bryant got that little extra twang on it. You know what I'm saying?
He's got that. It's different. That's my guy. Yeah,
there's something different. What began that whole way that preachers preach and the way their nomenclature, like when they, and I was saying that I was going to the store. I
have no idea. Like,
come on, I've been holding this one. You don't know.
You want me to come up with something, but I have absolutely no idea. It could be several things. I don't want to speculate. Part of it is probably imitation. Like in every field, I think initially people kind of imitate people who are doing things without investigating or exploring why they're actually doing that in the first place. That could be part of it. I think especially when you talk about like kind of the origins of the Black church and the conditions that created it, like it was social conditions that created it. And meaning that the dominant demographic, which at that point was Anglo, didn't want African Americans worshiping with them. So those social conditions probably contributed to that a little bit too, where in the religious space, people wanted to make sure that they were not giving off like an inferior experience. I think probably ministers, or a lot of them, depending on where they were, especially in the North and the Northeast, a lot of them were probably some of the most educated in the community. It could be a lot, bro. I don't know. I've never thought about it, but what made you think of that?
Because I've always wondered, who started that? Like, where did that come from? Because everybody does it. Like, well, not everybody.
Okay.
I've seen you kind of go there too sometime with it, but that's when you like exhorting and what have you.
Yeah.
But so
Mississippi.
Maybe so. I was just wondering, like, sometimes a lot of things that we have learned, we've learned because we saw it. We learned because it was around us. Even how we express, the way we praise.
Yeah.
Even how we, express what we think about God.
Yeah.
A lot of it ain't necessarily Bible per se.
Yeah.
A lot of it is tradition. A lot of it traditions of man, culture.
Well, some of it's fine though, right? Because like everything.
Is it?
I think some of it's fine because here's the thing. Some of the like instruction that you see in the Bible is going to be lived out or it's going to be expressed differently based on the culture of the people that are doing it. So let's say you take something like praise. If you go to, so I've been to, let's say, I've been to South Africa. That's the only part of Africa I've been to. So,
what
part? Pretoria and Bloemfontein.
I've never been. I went to Cape Town. That's, the regular ones.
Yeah, I heard. I haven't been there. Somebody told me I gotta go though.
It's amazing.
They say it's a vibe.
You're like, it's a vibe.
Okay. Maybe I don't need to go there.
You can go, but
okay, all right.
bring your team with you.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but anyway, like the way they express is going to be different than the way people express in Mississippi.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I think there is some room for some of that, but there's a lot of stuff I don't think we know where it comes from. It's just kind of a part of the fabric, and we do it. I
just don't know, man. I'm in this place now, and I really wanted to have a conversation with somebody like you because, man, I'm kind of like, I love God, and I don't want to be one of them people like, I'm not. What they say, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual or something like they say. I don't think I'm over there.
Yeah.
But man, some of the things I just question, like where we get that from. Like even with the Bible, I love God, and I know that my relationship with God is authentic and it is real because I feel his presence.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hear his voice.
Yeah.
I don't hear his voice, but I have a knowing of him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then there's some things as I get older. Matter of fact, when I went to Cape Town, South Africa, and I saw all of the amazing people that were there, some of them kindest people that I probably met way more than over here. Mm-hmm. They're very good people, but it's a Muslim area.
Yeah.
And my Bible says if they don't believe in Jesus, they don't make it in. Yeah. And so when I got back, it messed me up.
Sure.
Because I was concerned that what if we are only seeing a perspective of God, but not necessarily the totality of God? Mm-hmm. And I can't clearly answer that because I don't know. Yeah. When I look in the Bible and I see the contradictions, like God never changes, he never, but then we see where he got angry and I get
perceived
the emotions.
Contradictions.
Perceived contradictions. Thank you for that.
Perceived contradictions, right?
Right.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you get angry and you destroy a whole planet. Like, everybody dies except for this family.
Yeah.
So there's some things I don't understand.
Sure.
And I'm not sure that I'm going to understand it all. I'm not here to get you to try to explain it all.
Yeah.
However, I do want to know like the fundamental pieces of this thing that we call Christianity, or I thought it was love God, love people. Yeah. But it feels like there's some other crevices there, man, that we get lost in that people make a big deal out of. Is it really a big deal?
Yeah. So one, I'm going to say those questions and those challenges aren't unique to Christianity. You have some of those, like out of the three major religions in the world right now. So there's Islam, there's Christianity, there's Judaism, right? Yeah. So those are the three largest religions in the world. And in all of them, you've got variations of them, expressions of them, representations of them that may be popular, but are like inconsistent with the original foundation of them. So I'm inclined to believe that many people, at least in my experience, right? Let's say they were kind of a part of a church and now want nothing to do with it. Like the people you were just talking about.
Yeah.
I'm spiritual, not religious. Different people mean different things by that. Some people simply mean I've had some traumatic experiences with organized religion. And as a result of that, I don't feel safe over there anymore.
I don't feel safe.
I don't feel safe.
That's good.
And as a result of that, I'm pursuing something else over here. I'm saying all of that to that's a completely different conversation, all right?
I feel you. I mean, I ain't trying to trap you though. That's the thing. We got a lot to go.
Yeah, so that's a completely different conversation there. But yeah, the point that I'm making is I think some of the things we call contradictions are perceived contradictions. Perceived contradictions. So let's say like a judgment on whether or not an act of God is immoral, right? Because that's underneath the question you just mentioned. It is, okay, if he's the ultimate expression of all things good, how can somebody good do something like that? My argument would be your perception of what's actually good is going to be based on the seat you're sitting in and the limited knowledge that you have. So if I stick a needle in a child's arm and all you see is the needle, and you see the child crying, you might make a judgment on my activity, but it's limited. You don't know enough to say if it's actually good, because I'm like, they might be having an allergic reaction. Yeah. And so what you see is the scream and the pain. Yeah. What I see is the good that's going to actually come out of this later. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I mean when I say like perceived contradictions. And I think what I would encourage people to be is to be, oh man, I hope this is going to come out the wrong way, but be just a little more open to other possibilities before we come to conclusions about the Bible and God and et cetera. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I deal with this all the time with people saying stuff like, it's a white man's religion.
Oh yeah, you hear that.
I was like, bro, that's so fat. It's not and people say it with they say it with sauce. They say it with confidence. And I was like, yo, it's one thing to be uninformed. It's nothing to be uninformed and arrogant.
Right,
that's a different, like, that's not even factually accurate. Like, this is Jesus was a Middle Eastern Palestinian Jew.
Yeah.
What do they look like?
Right.
Come on, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
This originated with people of color. And so a lot of it's perception, bro. I don't want to get on.
No. I get it. It's a lot of it is conditioning and a lot of it is perception.
Yeah.
My thing is, man, I want to become the best version of myself. I'm doing Project 50 now.
Okay.
So I turned 50 in October. And
bro.
Yeah. I turned 50 in October.
Come on.
And I have like 50 bucket list things I'm going to do. Of course, one of them, we're going to check this one off the list. And I just want to become the best version of myself. And sometimes that is clearing up the cloudiness, man. Sometimes it gets a little muddy up there.
Yeah.
And I feel like God is so big, bro.
Sure.
I mean, think about it. God is so big.
Yeah.
So the Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, Pluto, if that's even still a thing, Earth, the sun, it's like, that's one galaxy.
Yeah.
And it's millions of galaxies, billions, I don't know.
Sure.
And we like to say we know all that encompasses God. We know all that encompasses what is spiritual. I don't know. That's tough for me. So what I do know is my perspective of God. And I do have my perspective with my relationship with him. And I don't think I go back and forth with folks about that.
Sure.
You may not have the luxury to be able to do that, or maybe you do. I don't know. But I just say, hey man, I ain't in that. That's on you.
Yeah, I do have the luxury to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, some people may feel like they have an obligation to engage. But for me, when it comes to at least the people that I serve and I provide leadership to, it's like, hey, you're part of this spiritual family because you want my perspective. Now, you have to determine what you do with that. That's not my responsibility, but it is my responsibility to make believers think and make thinkers believe, to help believers think and help thinkers believe. And so I'm going to throw the perspectives out there. And then what you do with that is between you and God. I'm not going to play God there. You know what I'm saying? And if people like have genuine questions about like, yo, how can God be good and do something like that? If people have genuine questions that are like creating doubt for them, I feel like, yo, let me serve you to the best of my ability and just give you some different things to think about. But yeah, I do a lot of disengaging now, bro.
Ooh, that's good. Hey, okay, so man, so many questions here. But your book, Relational Intelligence, that is a game changer for me.
Wow.
Like the perspectives that you gave were ones that I didn't share.
Yo, I'm doing a podcast. I'm starting a podcast. You got to come on.
Okay, I would love to come on.
No, I'm for real.
I would love to produce it, quite frankly. I mean, since we're talking.
You got this studio.
But yeah, I would love to, man. Whatever you need. Of course, whatever you need.
Yeah.
But it's the idea that people are in categories in your life, and people that you rocked with closely before, man, that ain't always supposed to be that you rock with them for the rest of your life.
Can I ask you something? I know you're doing an interview.
Yeah.
So when you mention, and there's a reason I'm asking you this, when you mention like people are in categories in your life, how did that make you feel? Do you feel okay saying that? Or does that feel funny saying it?
It was both.
Okay.
So it felt a little funny because I'm like, maybe I'm not being authentic.
Okay.
You feel me? But then it felt right because it made logical sense to me.
Yeah, got you.
You know?
I'm asking because that's the part of the book I feel like we got the most pushback on.
Really?
100%, bro.
Oh, it blessed me the most.
Yeah, people kind of feel like, what do you mean? It's like almost like putting people in categories. It's like treating them like they stock on the grocery shelves or something. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
Yeah, so we got some of that, but I think it's necessary.
It didn't make me feel like that. It really explained a lot of stuff for me, because there were some people, man, that hurt me the most, and it wasn't because they hurt me. It was really the meaning that I gave to them that was incorrect. I gave I had them in the wrong category.
Yeah, 100%.
And so I'm expecting them to be something that they were not intrinsically going to be to me,
Yes.
even if they were in a season. They're not now.
Yeah.
So as we grow, things are going to constantly and consistently change. So that really blessed me. Another thing I'm thinking about with you is I noticed that there is a common denominator in people who authentically are in a space of, what's the word I want to use? It's integrity, but it's the place of authority, the place of effectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all humble. Y'all are humble. You have a air of excellence about you, but it is shrouded in humility, and you feel it. You don't have an air. And I wanted to know, what is that common denominator between those that are in that space of like you really doing it and humility, because that's what I see.
Yeah. Well, one, thank you for that. That's a compliment. Like, I hadn't thought about it like that. Like, I don't sit and think about myself that way. And I think my experience is a little bit different than yours because I feel like sometimes when I'm in certain spaces, sometimes I feel like a zebra, bro. Like I'm just being honest. Like I might be in certain spaces and I'm like, man, this seems like whatever your this is, whatever your thing is, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's ministry, whatever, it's like in certain rooms, I feel like it feels like to them, their this matters a whole lot more to them than this does to me. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like,
oh my God, man. I don't know how many people got that, bro, but I got it. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Like this really matter to you. And I think that's good to a degree, but it seems like there's also like some worth and some identity and some value. Yeah. You're kind of like defined. And to me, it's like, I feel like I don't want this to mean that much to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel a little different. I feel like, I'll just put it this way, bro. For me, I'm really, really clear on my values. And this is why when your authentic values become your real priorities, that's when you actually tap into happiness.
When your authentic values become your real priorities, that's when you tap into happiness.
That's when you tap into happiness. When what matters the most to you is actually something you're prioritizing in your life. That's where fulfillment and happiness comes from. So I was fortunate enough to have some achievement a little early on in the game. And because of that, I saw this don't do for you what people think it does for you. You know what I mean? Wherever your there is you're trying to get to, once you get there, there is not going to feel like that.
Ain't what I thought,
It's when you graduate out of one level to the next, you graduate from the top of one to the bottom of another.
Yeah.
So you go from a 5-figure earner to a 6-figure earner. If you're in the entrepreneurial space and you think the 6 figures are going to do something, you go from 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Then you realize it's multimillionaires out there.
Yeah.
Then you get into multimillionaires and you realize they're billionaires out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hadn't thought about it like that, but for me, I feel like, in my experience, some things matter to people. And I'm not making a judgment on them. Those are their values.
Yeah.
Mine are, this doesn't matter.
But you messed me up with that one because that in itself says growth. I'm moving out of the top of one level, but I'm moving into the bottom of one. One level, everybody in the room knows my name and knows who I am. The next one, don't nobody know me.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly in that circle, then you're the big dog, then you immediately go to the little dog, and then you have to just kind of keep yourself humble all the way through.
Yeah.
So that humility probably is a thing if you're really trying to grow. You know, if you're really trying to grow.
100%. Yeah.
Who do you who can tell you, all right, Darius, it's enough. Have a seat, and you listen.
So I'm going to say something. I'm going to make a caveat here because what you're really talking about is accountability.
Yeah, I am.
And accountability, no matter who you give that authority to, accountability only works if you're going to hold yourself accountable to being accountable. Because if they're not really living with you, they can't really hold you accountable, bro.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like, so one of the things I do, and to me, it's all ministry because to me, business is a delivery system for value. So I do ministry.
Business is the delivery system.
It's a delivery system for value.
For value.
So there's some value.
You gotta take me slow, man. You can't just drop them nuggets like that and just keep moving like I ain't hear what I just heard.
Yeah, so like it is a way we add value to the life of another person. You know what I mean? So we're here today. We're in this is a dope vibe studio. The building's immaculate.
Thank you.
Because somebody started a business.
Yes.
You know, the cameras are here because somebody started a business. All of the thousands of people that are going to be helped by what you do in this place exist because somebody started a business. So for me, I kind of see it that way, right? Like, okay, business is a delivery system for value. And so even in the coaching, I'm gonna ask you a question, but like
this is good.
What I want to do in the business space is coaching, right? And one of the things that I see, people will pay you, bro, and lie to you. It's like you're paying me to help you, but then you're lying to me. I can't. You understand? It's like you're telling me you did something you didn't do. Just like be honest, bro. So we can.
Wow.
So accountability only works if you are willing to hold yourself accountable to being accountable.
Okay.
And so for me, Dr. R.A. Vernon is that person in my life. He's been that person for the past several years now, since 2014 or so.
How
He's
does
been
that begin?
person.
How does that begin? Do you call him and say, hey, man?
This was really, that's how it began for me. So I've been following him. So here's the thing, okay? This is what I believe. I believe somebody's greatness shouldn't determine, a person's greatness shouldn't determine whether or not they're your mentor. Your goals should. So some people just chase people that are great, but it's like, those aren't your goals, bro.
Wow.
So what are your goals? So there are a lot of people that I saw that had money I wanted or churches I wanted, but they ain't had a life I wanted. Vernon had the life I wanted. So it wasn't the biggest church in the world. It wasn't the biggest name in the world. It wasn't the biggest entrepreneur in the world.
Yeah.
But when I look at the life, the family, the integrity,
Yeah.
the credibility,
Yeah.
the genuine contentment, it's like I wanted that. And so he's kind of that person. But here's the thing. He can only do that to the degree that I'm honest with him or my wife is honest with him.
Ooh. What a great distinction.
Yeah, and so if I want real accountability, I got to give her, which she has, permission to hit him without my permission.
Huh. Okay.
Because if not,
and
he's
you've
only
given
getting
that.
my perspective. Oh, 100%. He would not pastor me without me giving him that.
So you
He wouldn't waste his, he wouldn't have wasted his time.
So was it a vetting process or whatever?
It's not a vetting process, it's him. So it's almost like
No, for you.
So yeah, it's like, let's say if somebody asking you to mentor them.
Yeah.
You're gonna sit them down and like kind of articulate to them like, yo, this is the way this works with me.
Yeah.
And then they can make a decision whether or not they feel like that works for them.
Mm.
And that's kind of what it was. So I've been seeing him from afar. And I've been talking to my wife about it. Like, how do you feel about this? Like, I feel a connection with him. He had came and he had spoke for me before. And so I knew him a little bit. I've been to his home and I kind of watched him for years. And he was doing this event. I literally got on a plane. My wife and I talked about it. We agreed. I got on a plane. I went to Cleveland, went into this event. And during the break, I walked up to him and I was like, yo, you my guy. It was like, because here's the thing. Everybody wants somebody great.
Did he know you?
But he knew of me, yeah. Everybody wants somebody great, but great people busy.
Hey man, can we do a meme? 'Cause that's a whole meme.
Yeah. He was. I know he was busy, so I wasn't waiting on him to come to me. I had to go where if I needed the time, I needed to be inconvenienced. Like people want to be elevated, but they don't want to be inconvenienced, bro. You can't have it both ways.
So I do it like this. I say, so I think it should be a 2-level buffer. In other words, if you're going to be mentored by somebody, that person needs to be, if you're level 5, they need to be no more than level 7. Because if they're level 8, 9, or 10, too busy, too much going on, and the learning curve is too much. My thoughts. And then if you're gonna mentee somebody can be a mentee, then it's the same thing. It's two levels because it's close enough proximity, for them to be able to learn. Yeah.
It can be really challenging.
People come to you, hey man, please mentor me.
Yeah.
Doc. So in business, hey man, let me get you QuickBooks and da-da-da-da. QuickBooks, what's that?
Exactly.
Hey man, we ain't the same.
Yeah.
There
are a couple of layers we got to put between us. Yeah,
we're not the same.
That's so good.
So when we talk about accountability for you, when did you learn? Because you didn't learn it from R.A. Vernon. He just kind of modeled where you wanted to go. Okay.
My dad put that in me, I think.
All right, good. This is a good pivot here because I think many of us, myself included, I don't know your story in that sense, so I'm just going to talk about me. When we have father wounds, right? Sometimes we can get low-key burned because we make ourselves vulnerable to the wrong father.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know in the church, for me growing up, got saved at 8, backslid at 13 because quite frankly, Michael Jackson was kind of popping. I ain't want to miss out on that. You couldn't listen to Michael Jackson and be saved. You crazy. Got saved again. It wasn't long. I was like 13 years old again. And I don't know, man. I would be in church, man, and there's so many lies, bruh. And what I'm learning now at 49 years old is a lot of those men had father wounds as well.
Mm-hmm.
They just never knew how to deal with.
Yeah.
So they did what they saw.
Sure.
And so now when I grow up, I used to be a little bitter because the things I saw, man, we could talk for 3 hours on this stuff I saw. And I really just wanted to just please God the best I could. But when we talk about being accountable, you said your dad modeled.
Yeah.
Your dad modeled accountability, or you learned it from him?
Yeah, I think I learned it from him because he held me accountable for certain things. And so to me, it was just, I think I was just kind of used to it, if that made sense. And so he was I've been very fortunate in that sense. I had a dope father, man. I just had a great, great dad. And so he was very, very, he was a pastor. I felt no pressure from him.
Really?
To live in a bubble. 100% not. Never. I think the things he required of me in terms of character were things that he would have required of me no matter what his role was. But he never projected that on me. And it was just like accountability. It's like we had chores around the house and I knew. So like one of the things my sister and I, we would alternate washing dishes. We didn't have a dishwasher growing up. So,
yeah, we did. Had 6 of them, actually.
You know what I mean? Right, exactly. Yeah, my sister and I were the dishwashers. And so I knew, like he had this saying, like let's say if I didn't wash the dishes right, I half did it. He would come in, check. If you're in the bed, he's gonna come get you out of bed and say, go up and do it right. And go get back up, go to the kitchen, do it right. He said, if you do it right the first time, you won't have to do it again. You know what I mean?
Your mom didn't say, hey, leave him alone.
Rescued me. No, she never rescued me. He was that same way with grades.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, okay, I loved basketball. I played basketball all through college. His thing was, once he saw my academic capability, he held me to that standard. So he's like, all right, since you can get A's and B's, you have to get A's and B's. If you don't get A's and B's, you don't play basketball. Basketball is a get to. A's and B's is a have to.
Wow.
You got to do your have tos before you do your get tos.
Yeah.
So like those things just, I think, just kind of put it in me.
Yeah. So for people who have not been raised with a dope dad, you know, like you, they was raised with a dope mom. And, you know, you can kind of see in some cases, you know, how that turns out. Like, all right, here we go. So, yeah, right, man. God.
Careful.
I'm gonna be careful. It just might not ever see the light of day either. Throw that out there real quick too. Put that in your golfing basket. So, you know, with my son, all right, I feel like I took a role that was a role that accommodated my peace more so than his benefit. Meaning, you know, his mom was one that was, kind of like, I'm gonna do this. I got this. And so I know I could have stood my ground, but I ain't really want the promised land to shut down on a brother. So, and so in all honesty, man, I do feel a little guilt, and it may be borderline shame about that. You know, he's 19 years old now, and I'm like, woulda, coulda, shoulda. He's not a bad kid. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
But I see little things.
Sure.
Some of them, my insecurities. And, one of the worst things you can imagine, man, is that you gave your kid something that wasn't great. Like I'm trying to be okay with that, man, but it's tough.
You're a thinker, bro.
I'm all in my head.
So you're an overthinker.
Okay, well, you got to overhelp me because I'm a little stuck, bro.
But I feel like anybody could feel that. So I'm not like making light of it, but I feel like what you're feeling in a sense is probably normal. I would just say a few things, right? So if me and you were just sitting and talking about this, I would just say a few things just for you to, think about later. And the first thing would be this, like, am I making an assumption that if I was involved in a different way, there would be a different outcome?
I am, yeah.
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 We don't know.
And it is an assumption. Wow, man.
You understand? It is an assumption because there are dads who were all the way in there and regular and consistent and supportive and the whole 9 yards. And the outcomes sometimes as it relates to the direction of that kid's life is worse than yours. Way worse. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying for people not to be involved. I am saying that sometimes some of the guilt, shame, remorse that we feel is tied to assumptions we making. And we don't know we're making those assumptions. Like,
Wow.
Yeah, so I'll leave it there. That will definitely be one of
No. Keep doing this is good, man.
Okay.
This is good.
So,
but in my mind, you're right, I do overthink. I'm pushing back a little bit, but you covered it and said, well, how about it could have been the other way too. Could have been,
100%.
Yeah.
And so you also have to think too, it's like, okay, if I would say this to anybody, like, listen, if I am forcing myself into certain situations, not with him, but with other people, where it is causing me to be a version of myself that's not the best version of myself, then what happens is I'm going to be giving him more regularly a worse version of me. So the question becomes, would I rather him have a less frequent version of me that's the best version of me, or a frequent version of me that's not the best version of me? So I don't know what the right angle is, but these are just things to think about, because the person that talks to you the most is you. And the most important person that talks to you is you. Because you're going to talk to you more than God do.
Ooh.
Yeah, you talk to you more. If somebody say God talk to them more than they talk to themselves, I'm like, bro, I don't know. I mean, God talking to you all. When you think about the number of thoughts you have a day, like God's talking to you 1,000 times a day.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put you out there, and you can bat this ball all the way down to the ground and be like, yeah, I don't want none of that. Hey, man, how do you know when to walk away? And there's a lot of categories for this. You're dating, you're married, whatever. But and sometimes there's some cases, and I won't put you on the spot. Don't answer it the way you don't want to answer it. But how do you know when? Yeah, it's time to walk away.
It's the Katie Bo Show.